Hello everyone, happy weekend. First things first, I got banned on TikTok, so I'm gonna put my backup account here. Might be my main account. Don't know if my appeal's gonna go through. So if you haven't seen me on TikTok and that's where you came to me on YouTube from, if you've noticed I haven't been posting, yeah, my account got banned. So definitely go follow my backup account. I don't know what's going to happen. Either way, I'm going to consistently post on this backup account, even if I get my new account back, because that's just what that app is. Whatever. I need to stop commenting. I need to stop answering comments. Like, for real. Please go follow me on my backup. Thank you. Anyways, today I wanted to talk about shame. I've been talking about the shame wound that Gen Z has for a good bit, I would say, but not too much in depth on the way that our society utilizes shame, right? I personally feel like we don't utilize shame correctly. I think there's a way to use shame, and we don't shame those that we should, right? I just made a TikTok video on my backup talking about transitioning and detransitioning with trans people, and how the right really loves to use people who detransition as like a gotcha moment. And it's just like so weird to me because, yeah, how dare somebody explore themselves? You know what I mean? To the fullest extent. How dare somebody just do whatever they need to do at the time to figure out who they are? Like, a lot of us in this society don't know who we are, and we act out towards other human beings to cope with that, when in all actuality it's just really unproductive, right? It's like the whole transitioning, detransitioning, so much shame from the first step to, if there's the next step of detransition. Why? You know what I mean? Why is there shame in that? And then when it comes to things like adults preying on children, adults being sexually attracted to children, corn addictions, right? It's just like, there's no shame in that. People literally try to find excuses for why these people are the way that they are. There's no excuse there. This is where we need to use shame with people like that, with cheaters, right? The cheaters, that is the biggest thing that's been absolved in our society, is cheating on your partner. That's pretty weird. Like, cheating in and of itself is just, first of all, dangerous, because you don't know how people will act on account of betrayal. You're betraying somebody. You don't know how somebody's gonna act. And some people have lost their lives because others have just gone off the deep end when it comes to cheating, right? And then there's sexually transmitted infections. Like, you're cheating, you're obviously not a careful person, you're obviously not a considerate person. Are you putting your partner at risk now? Are you, the relationship is no longer consensual, right? So now you're out doing whatever, you're going back home, you're doing whatever with your partner. It's just, the relationship is no longer consensual. Now everybody's at risk. It's just, it's very odd the way that our society absolves behaviors like that. But when it comes to other things where nobody's hurting anybody, we're just trying to, figure ourselves out, some more than others. It's just, there's a specific shame in that. And I think that it happens because people who are different than the majority. Whether they figure that out, which I honestly do think they figure it out pretty early, right? Those of us who are different than the majority, it's figured out that you're different earlier on because of the inherent shame that we're all conditioned into. Somebody thinks differently, where they're isolated, right? It's just like trans people, everybody in the LGBTQIA plus community. You're thinking in different ways, and that's not you thinking in a different way. It isn't really, what's the word? It's not cherished in this society. People don't like it. Our government doesn't like it. You know what I mean? When you go into work, big businesses don't like it. They want things to stay the same. And that's what I said in my last video, I think. Most people are conservative. Most people want to conserve rather than progress. They don't want to think differently. They want everybody staying in their little boxes. Do you know what I mean? And when something deviates from that, a lot of the times you can't help deviating from that, right? Do you think people who are gay want to be gay in a society where you could, your life could be ended for being gay? There have been, young children whose lives were ended because there is an inherent shame that children are taught, and then those children are hostile because children are extreme, right? Because they're not really taught emotional stability, emotional regulation, right? And so then they don't know how far too far is. Somebody ends up, passing away. This happens in fraternities and sororities too. It's just like they don't know how far too far is, and then somebody gets hurt, and then now everybody's like, what happened? It's the mentalities that everybody is conditioned with in our society. Sorry. And nobody really wants to address it. You got to address it within yourself. How are you inherently shaming somebody, right? When something is beyond your understanding. Do you need to comment on it, or can you just leave it? Nobody's harassing anybody else. It's like so weird how people stand up and stand against things that have only to do with the individual. But when it comes to somebody hurting someone else, somebody harassing somebody else, it's none of our business, right? It's very odd to me. And so that's what makes people feel isolated. Do you know what I mean? People in the LGBTQ community. This book that I'm reading for school right now, the chapter is disabilities. The one before was on trans people, and it has to do with school. What's this class? It's school and society, right? So we're learning about the history of the United States public education system, public and private education system, and just the laws, right? The laws that the Department of Education, federally funded institutions put in place to get people to stop harassing individuals that were different, right? It's just like people with disabilities, right? People who think differently, who have different abilities. It's like even people who wrote with their left hand. My best friend, I think she was a lefty, but she was shamed for it, and her grandparents got her to write with her right hand. It's like, you cannot be writing with your left hand, right? It's like different abilities, different ways of thinking, right? When it comes to families having a child who has different abilities, who might end up in special ed, some of these families may end up feeling isolated because other families don't want to hang out with them, right? Maybe and sometimes it's not malicious. I just think that other people, sometimes it is. Most of the times I think it is. And even when we're trying to look at different situations as to why it might be, like maybe somebody doesn't feel like they could find the same ground, right? They don't know what to say. They don't know how to find common ground. Then it's like, oh, I'm just going to avoid it entirely. Well, now, you know, the family with a child who's different than yours is isolated. It's not fair. And unfortunately, as I've been told all my life, life's not fair. This world is obviously not fair, right? But I think when it comes to the inherent shame in our society, those families could possibly have an easier go of it if it wasn't taught that it's like you can, you know, there's no shame in somebody thinking differently, somebody needing, you know, different forms of help. All children need help. That's why the public education system came about, because it's like children need to be in school. They need to be taught. They need help. You know what I mean? But some kids just need different forms of help. And it doesn't mean that they're less intelligent. Definitely not, right? Many of these children who are neurodivergent, they are legitimately just thinking outside of the box. They're just, you know, maybe they have a harder time thinking in the ways that the public education system teaches, right? Because sometimes, you know, the public education system, sometimes it could be good. Other times, I think it could be really limiting, right? It teaches children how to be workers. I don't think it teaches kids how to be thinkers, because a lot of the times I don't think it teaches kids the truth. How can kids be thinkers and grow up to be thinkers when they're not even being told the truth? They're being told something that's just what whoever wants us to know. You get what I'm saying? So yeah, some kids, they're just naturally going to deviate from that. And then they're low-key shamed for it. It's like, oh, you're going to be set in a different class. It's daunting, right? It's daunting for these people. And, you know, I think a lot of the times it hinders so many people, like the shame, right? The shame of it all. It's very odd, because then people end up wanting to shame others, because that's obviously what's pretty natural to them. And a lot of the times, many people want to have the entitlement. They want to be entitled to treat others the way that they have been treated, instead of really sitting with some things. And maybe they'll be bullies, and maybe they'll shame, and maybe they'll fall into this mentality. Some will wake up out of it. Some will do the internal work to address it. But that's the thing that needs to happen, is things do need to be addressed, right? We need to acknowledge how bad things are so that we can change. That's like the one thing about, you know, white people in this country saying, oh, yeah, you know what? I don't know why we have to keep talking about this. You're racist for needing to still talk about this. You legitimately don't know how people of color were treated in this country, right? How Hispanic students, Mexican American students, how Native American students and Black students were treated in this country. Like, that's what I'm learning right now in my book. It's just so many people don't know this simple information. It's right here at our fingertips, especially if you have a phone with internet. And so many people are like, why do we still have to talk about this? Like, you're so racist for bringing this up. We cannot move past things if we don't acknowledge how bad it was. Okay? Like, that's the only way. If people legitimately don't know how things went down, there is absolutely no way for the collective to get any smarter. And I know that these humans we're an advanced civilization and we're so smart, and not most of us. Most people, that's what I'm learning as I grow older and older. Most people, they're not getting any smarter. They're not smart to begin with. And then once they get out of school, after not listening in school, they don't go and search for more information. And then now we have so many distractions, especially with all of these apps. Now these people, it's like, oh, am I going to read a book or am I going to get on an app and argue with people? Do you see what I'm saying? And there's no shame in that. Okay? And there's no shame in cheating your way through school. We've got AI. Students being asked questions in class. They don't know shit about the work they just did because they use AI for it all. Do you get what I'm saying? It's just like there's no shame in that. But then when it comes to students actually writing down their essays, they're getting horrible grades because the teachers are now becoming aware of, or no, they're getting used to AI written work. And so when it comes to students actually trying and needing help with their essays, because it's literally them writing the essay, they're not getting the help. They're just being failed. It's just like, it's very odd, right? But there's no shame in the students who are cheating their way through. And then there's like inherent shame for the students that are doing work, right? So it's like, it comes to like circling back through it all. It's just like the inherent shame for people who just are a little bit different than others, right? Who think differently, who want to maybe do things that are truly right for them, right? We have people who are in the LGBTQ community. We have people who, you know, have children who have disabilities, who think differently than other children, who need different forms of help, right? Who have different abilities that are just like, okay, it's not the norm, but like there's legitimately nothing wrong with it, right? And then we have people who maybe most of the boxes they check, they're straight, they're cisgendered, they're, you know, some people are very attractive conventionally, but then they get shamed because they don't want kids, right? It's like men. Right now, as I was saying that, I was thinking of just like a man who is just like the perfect bachelor, and everybody's like, your wife's gonna be so lucky and OMG, and then when are you guys gonna have kids? And then the man sits there and is like, I don't really want kids. Everybody looks at him like he's crazy, right? He's crazy because it's just like, he doesn't want kids. And many people will look at him crazy because it's like, well, why don't you want kids? Like, the wife is probably going to do most of the work, which is wrong. But for somebody to legitimately sit there and say, I don't want kids, women experience the shame all the time, right? Childless women have been shamed and labeled for all of time, right? They've annoyed society so much that people started calling them witches and persecuting them and ending their lives because it's just like, yeah, oh my God, our crops didn't grow. It was that single woman across the road. She cursed us. And then they would like burn her at the stake. That was legitimately happening, y'all. They were witch hunting women. It wasn't witches. Oh, witches. Yeah, that was a label to get rid of women that were annoying people. Women don't even have the luxury of being annoying. You get what I'm saying? It's just like women inherently shamed. Women inherently shame each other, right? Women aren't conditioned to be nice to each other, right? And that's like another thing. I just posted on my backup account a video of, you know, if a woman is inherently, right, she right off the bat mean to another woman, hostile, she had a mean mother. She had a mother who hated her. And many people in the comments like, that's not true all the time. I know it's not true all the time. Like, not everyone with a mean mother is mean. But I kind of think that if somebody's rude as fuck, if some woman is just like hostile to somebody she doesn't know, it's like, you're obviously a mean girl. You don't know this person. She doesn't know you, at least. I think that your mom missed something somewhere, right? I think that your mom was mean to you, because it's like, we as women aren't conditioned to be nice to each other. So why would that be different within the women in our families? Do you get what I'm saying? I know many of us have had, you know, aunts and, you know, distant cousins, whatever, who are just like rude, horrible comments. It's like, okay, why would that change the second some woman has a daughter? She is the way she is, right? And some people are like, no, like, my bullies had the nicest moms. You don't know what goes on behind closed doors. Like, you just don't. Do you know what I'm saying? And so, you know, maybe they did have a nice mom. Maybe the little girl was bullied by somebody else. But it's like, unfortunately, the mom missed that and didn't protect her from it, right? Her parents missed that and didn't protect her from it. That's the hard thing about having kids, is you can't protect them from everything. Like, you could miss some things, and that could be a detrimental factor within their lives that leads them down a path that you wouldn't have wanted for them. But that's just the way life is, right? It's just, there's shame. People have so much shame. Shame within Gen Z. Look at the way that Gen Z can't have fun, that they can't try. The attack on trying. You know what I'm saying? Is how do they get through the day? The way that they shame millennials. It's like, millennials are so cringe. And at first it was funny. I was like, haha, millennials are cringe. But then they started getting like pretty hostile, and I was like, whoa, it's not that. It's not gonna be that. I love my millennials. I think that they were the last generation to really have fun. I don't know if it was because Gen Z had like phones put in their faces. I didn't really, because I'm Gen Z, mind you. My parents had a camcorder, like one like this, right? One with the, and you know, it wasn't out all the time, but I'm not sure where the collective shame wound within Gen Z is coming from, because there's a big shame on trying. They don't even like it when you sit there and say, I don't use AI in school, right? They'll shame you for it. They'll get mad, right? It's like, they don't love it when they see, it's like, you post on the apps, you know, try to make some music. It's like, they're gonna shame you a little bit until you start seeing success, and then they're gonna, you know, jump on the bandwagon. And maybe that's been true for years, but there's just a little something. There's a little touch to it. There's a little hint of something different within Gen Z. The attack on trying. The attack on like being cringe and labeling everything as that. It's like, there is extremism. And I think that's because everybody's just on their phones all the time. Nobody knows how to just sit with some info, right? Just read a book. Everything is so quick. And all of these videos, it's like short-term dopamine, I think it is, where it's like you're given all of these videos and all of these things to look at, and they incite something inside of you, like rage or happiness or funny, you know, right? Laughter. And it's just kind of like, okay, but not everything's like that. Most of life is boring, right? Most of life is mundane conversations where you're, you know, just, you don't have to be so reactive all the time. And people aren't getting that because they're not paying attention in school. They're on their phones. That's why teachers are so burned out. because they're having to deal with that, and then they're getting the work back and they're having to grade work that wasn't even done by their students that they're trying to get to know. Do you get what I'm saying? So yeah, I think that there's just this one of the big problems that we got to address in this society. Like, we have to address it. I don't know if the collective's gonna do it at any time soon. We can't move forward so fast. I think we as a civilization have done better, right? We've done better than what was going on a few centuries ago, of course. And even before 2009, it was like celebrities were hiding the fact that they were gay, and we were all just like, gay? But it's like they couldn't be gay. They would literally risk losing their careers pre-2009, I think. We changed so fast, but we do have to acknowledge some things so that we could really get to the foundation of things so that we can make true change. Because right now, I just think it's a lot of band-aids put over some mentalities, and the mentalities are coming out, right? They're coming out, especially within Gen Z. Everybody was like, Gen Z's gonna, they're gonna do it for us and all of this. And it's just like, why would they be any different than the people who raised them, right? Than the things that they're seeing on social media. It's just like a little bit unfair to put all of the pressure on them when we've lost them to so many things. We've lost Gen Z to so many things. We were going to be the first generation to, cut the nicotine, no more cigarettes. And then we're lost to the vape epidemic. It's just kind of like, yeah, no, now it's conservatism. Oh, Gen Z, they got some empathy and they know truly what's right from wrong. But then they grow up, there's a little bit of resentment for women, from men, from the young men, and from the women within. Because I think a lot of the times there's this inherent shame for women. And as you grow up as a young woman, you're sitting there and you're like, oh my God, I need to settle into a heterosexual relationship and fast, because it's easy to be in a straight relationship. Me saying that as a bisexual woman who has only ever fallen in love with women, I'm telling you right now, it is easier to settle into a straight relationship, because you are always going to get praise from society by being in a straight relationship. Even if that man is a loser, even if he's cheating on you, even if he's beating on you, a man still picked you. And that is rewarded by praise in this society. You're not rewarded by leaving a man and choosing yourself. Sure, other women with some sense will sit there and be like, yes, like, good for you, choose yourself, right? But other women will shame you, right? Men will shame you. Men will try to blame whatever on you. It's just the shame. And so these young girls sit there and they start to learn the shame that comes in adulthood for women. And they'll settle into something that's comfortable. And I think that's dangerous. I think a lot of women end up losing their lives to that. Whether that be them getting taken out of this world in and of itself, or them losing themselves completely. Their husbands, who don't really care about them, keep putting kids onto them, into them, to bring them into this world, risking their lives. Pregnancy is a risk for the woman's life. And, it's a beautiful thing, but it's beautiful when there is genuine love there amongst the couple. if there's not, if it's just like, yeah, we're settling and we're doing this and, you know, it's just what people do, right? We're going to have the parties, gender reveal parties, and, you know, people are going to congratulate us a little more and all of this. It's just kind of like you're going through the motions of life, right? And I don't know, like, not trying to shame that, but I do find that settling is a recipe for resentment. And you bringing children into, you know, a cycle of resentment, a cycle of settling, I think that's unfair, right? So, yeah, I could talk about the shame wound within our society for forever. It's such a big topic, and, you know, even the shame within people of color, the shame towards people of color who are asking for better, right? It's like, why are you asking for better? We've done so well. Things are so much better than you being enslaved, than you being, you know, whatever. It's like, okay, things could be better though. And, you know, many people are still being discriminated against, right? Institutionally. So, yeah, but there's shame there for them, right? Because we as a society shame the wrong ones. There needs to be more shame for people who are addicted to preying on children and preying on the people who are still developing, right? Anybody under 23, 24, 25, in my opinion. It's like, leave them alone to develop. We don't have shame for the people who prey on them. We don't have shame for the people who, you know, have corn addictions, right? It's like corn addictions are kind of like rooted in pedophilia, in all honesty. And, you know, I think it's just normalized for women to get into relationships with people, with men who have those sort of addictions. It's like that man could possibly put your family in thousands of dollars of debt. There's a reason these young women are making millions of dollars a year. They're being paid by men. And many of those men have families, should be doing something else. Why are they spending so much time watching that shit? Do you get what I'm saying? No shame for them. No shame for them. It's just like a little taboo, like, I don't want to talk about it, but like, yeah, my husband, like he's addicted to this. And it's just like, it's so odd, right? It's like, what else? Cheating too. No shame for that. All the shame is reserved for people who want better and want to feel safe in our society. That doesn't really make any sense to me, but it's something we do need to address if we're going to progress together and be happier long term. Either way, y'all, please go follow me on TikTok so you don't miss my posts. I'm trying to get my old account back. We'll see if TikTok wants to keep being a hater. Okay, thank you guys so much. Subscribe to me, please, and go follow my backup on TikTok.